Who are the biggest risers in ADP since the lockout? We'll reveal those next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Wednesday, January 12th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White, and the biggest riser in ADP since December 1st is Corey Knebel, who's moved up 222 spots, which makes sense, Scott, because he signed a one-year deal with the Philadelphia Phillies just before that lockout, and it seems like he's going to be the closer for the team.
Yeah, that seems to be the assumption, and that's why he's moved up so much in value. Obviously, a closer has way more value in fantasy than a setup man. And, that's not an official designation or anything, but after he was signed, Dave Dombrowski, who runs the Phillies, said something to the effect of, we're not in the market for a closer, which many people assumed meant they had just found their closer. And Knebel's been a great closer before with the Brewers, before having Tommy John surgery, had his strongest bounce back, his biggest bounce back since that procedure, like his best year since then with the Dodgers last year. And, it was a more promising closing option than anybody the Phillies had filling that role last year.
Mm-hmm. The next one up here is a quite polarizing player in Marcell Ozuna, who's moved up 103 spots to pick 200. He was given a retroactive 20-game suspension for violating the league's domestic violence policy. He did not play much last season. We're not really sure what's going to happen to him with the Atlanta Braves, but at some point we're going to have to talk about him from a fantasy perspective, and that's where we're at. So, Scott, we saw him in the shortened season. He finished as the 7th overall player that season, hit 18 home runs in just 60 games. So what's your feel on the situation right now regarding Marcell Ozuna?
So I rank him as my 47th outfielder, which is kind of a fence-straddling ranking. I don't like to do that. I do think, just performance-wise, there are questions about Ozuna because, the couple months we saw him this past year, he was terrible. Obviously was amazing in 2020, and he's had kind of an up-and-down career overall. I'm ranking him 47th because we don't know exactly what kind of role he's looking at, if any at all. But my thinking right now is that the Braves will have him back, just based on a statement they released in November when MLB determined the penalty for Ozuna and that he wouldn't have to serve any more suspension time. The statement didn't outright say Ozuna's not going to be a part of the team, which leads me to believe he probably is going to be a part of the team. So we'll see. But if he is, then he'll probably be between my 30th and 40th outfielder.
Yeah, and I think that sounds about right. I could see him moving up about another 50, maybe even 75 spots if we get confirmation that he is going to play this upcoming season with the Atlanta Braves. Alex Cobb signed a one-year deal with the San Francisco Giants just before the lockout, and he's moved up 58 spots to pick 270. Scott, the Giants have done a great job with pitchers recently. Anthony DeSclafani, Kevin Gausman, and Alex Cobb was actually pretty good last year with the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah, Alex Wood, Drew Smyly for the little bit we saw of him in 2020. These kind of forgotten one-time upsidey pitchers, they've really figured out how to get the most out of that upside. And Cobb was already trending the right direction last year. I think the best swinging strike rate he's ever had, great ground ball rate. The xFIP was around 330. Really strong percentages for him. And now he's going to the team with the track record with pitchers like Cobb. So yeah, I'm high on him as a sleeper. I understand him being drafted in this range.
All right, Connor Joe is the next man up here. He's moved up 54 spots, still just picked 343. So we're talking about, for deeper leagues, a late round option here. But he was leading off for the Rockies last season, Scott, and he was really good. 285 batting average, 8 homers, and 848 OPS. Really good plate discipline, lots of line drives. We just need to figure out if he's going to remain leading off for the Rockies and playing every day for them.
Yeah, and we don't trust the Rockies to make the right calls with decisions like this, but they were actually doing that last year. Connor Joe came up as an injury fill-in and did such a great job that they were willing to let him keep playing even in center field. Not ideally suited for that position probably, but they wanted his bat in the lineup, particularly at the top of the lineup. And anybody who has a shot at regular playing time at Coors Field, of course, is a sleeper in fantasy, particularly when you look at the sort of plate discipline Connor Joe has throughout his minor league career. Just amazing plate discipline. It's not going to be a Sam Hilliard situation where he ruins himself with strikeouts. But we have to see if he actually gets the playing time.
Scott, in 20 seconds or less, Oneil Cruz, a big prospect with the big in more ways than one. Big prospect here with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Really big expectations and projections here from Steamer, and I think that's really what's driving this cost right now.
Yeah, Steamer has him with a 281 batting average as a rookie, and he's 6'7". Did a pretty good job limiting strikeouts in the minors for being 6'7", but there are going to be holes in that swing, and he's not going to hit 281. So I think this is, if that's what people are basing the pick on, it's way too optimistic.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. We'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.